It is rather bizarre that at this late date, 40 some odd years after Roe v. Wade, that we have to have a hearing on this, and that the harmful effects of SB 8 have almost immediately manifest themselves in completely halting access to abortion for women in Texas who are not white, wealthy, or connected. It's also burdened the reproductive health care systems of other states that have chosen not to violate the Constitution. And in doing so, this law has created a framework that deliberately seeks to violate a woman's constitutional freedom to decide when and whether to become a parent based on her own unique circumstances. And SB 8 does so by creating a tortured legal fiction to avoid judicial review, and in the process, threatens other constitutional rights. Just as a baseline, the decision to have an abortion is deeply personal, and we as legislators must ensure that anyone who becomes pregnant can access a full range of safe medical care, free from fear, coercion, or lawmakers who want to insert themselves into a medical practice. We've heard several stories of why people may choose to access abortion care. In my professional life, I've had two clients who faced the choice of whether to carry a pregnancy to term or not. Both were young women who'd had a first child when they were in their teens and had suffered abuse at the hands of family members. They struggled to keep themselves and their children housed and fed, and when they were victimized by much older men, became pregnant again. They each had their own personal reasons for choosing not to have another child, including compelling medical, financial, and emotional reasons. One lived in Pennsylvania and was able to make the best decision for her circumstances. She chose not to have another child at that time, and as a result was able to leave the abusive relationship which had caused the pregnancy, finish school, get a good job, marry, and have 2 more children with her husband. The other lived in Texas, and this was before SB 8 took effect, but not before the state had imposed some of the most restrictive anti-abortion laws in the country. She couldn't afford to travel or pay for an abortion, and she was forced to bear a child, although she and the child suffered preventable physical injury and great economic harm. So these are just 2 of the stories. We've heard other stories. It pains me that we need to share personal stories with private reasons to demonstrate the endless array of reasons why someone might choose not to avail themselves of having another child. But these stories shouldn't have to be told over and over again. Professor Bridges, I just wanted to dig a little bit into some of the legal basis for this crazy SB 8 law. So as I understand it, the Texas legislature has decided to make having an abortion illegal in Texas, but has outsourced enforcement of that from the state to private citizens who can sue anyone who has an abortion or help someone to have an abortion and get $10,000 from them. This seems really tortured, and it also seems to implicate other rights. So for example, if we were to have a state that decided to outlaw evangelical Christians, I think, practicing your First Amendment religious rights is a pretty clear constitutional rule. So if the state of Georgia, say, said, no more evangelical Christians, it's illegal to practice that religion in the state of Georgia, and the state's not going to do anything about it, but anyone, anywhere, doesn't matter if you're in Georgia or anywhere else, you can sue anyone who's a practicing Christian in Georgia for $1 million. Isn't that what this law is trying to do in Texas? And what's the problem with that?
Absolutely. So we're here today because the Supreme Court has allowed Texas to offer all the states a blueprint for violating constitutional rights. No constitutional right is safe. This begins at abortion, but who knows where it will end. The First Amendment free exercise right, the 14th Amendment right to same-sex marriage, the 14th Amendment right to consensual sexual contact, the Second Amendment right to bear arms. No constitutional right is safe, and that is why we're here today.
Thank you. I think the very structure of this law should give people pause and be more than solid grounds for why it should never have taken effect, should not be a model for other states, and should be promptly overturned. Thank you. I yield back.